listen to matters. We can learn about matters to do with leaders. That's on the Leadership Forum, leaders and their followers. And our guest is always the Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, Bishop David Oginde. My name is Wambui Mburu. And once again, a blessed morning to you. I am here in the studios of Hope FM. Well, Bishop will be talking to us straight from his home, straight from his house, where we are able to link. Thank God for this kind of virtual meeting. So we are looking at matters to do with leadership. And last time when Bishop was with us, we were able to start on something about the defense strategy. That's on leadership. And Bishop now ready to take it up from there. Bishop, if you can join me in the studio, then we can go on and talk about where we left it last time. How have you been though, my Bishop?
Thank you, Wambui. I'm good. I've been fine. Sorry, last week I was not able to join you because we had a national assignment. We were going around the counties, helping our church leaders on the reopening of their places of worship. So I was way out in Siaya.
Actually, Bishop, didn't you already do that some time back? You again were in Siaya and you were talking about reopening, isn't it? What was different this time?
What is different is that we are moved to a new phase in the reopening phases. So we were in the pre-opening when we were there, and this time round we are moved to phase 1. And also we have put together committees in every county. So we were also training those committees on what their roles are and responsibilities. So yes, I'd been to Siaya, Kisumu, and Homa Bay, and once again I was in Siaya, Kisumu, and Homa Bay, meeting this time with the county committees that are helping us in overseeing the work in those counties.
What did you see? I would just like to see or to hear your observations now as you were moving around Siaya, Kisumu, and the rest of the places where you had been allocated. On phase 1, what's your observation? How well are we doing?
Phase 1 started on Tuesday. So the first meetings were actually this last Friday for the Muslims, Saturday for the SDAs, and Sunday yesterday for the rest of the Christian community. So really we were not able to see anything that we can report, but we were meeting with the committees, just preparing them for the upcoming move to phase 1 of the reopening. So really there was not much to see, but more to hear. Yes.
So then, when you talk of phase 1, what exactly is phase 1 from the committee's point of view? And what shall phase 2 then look like? Could we see that program through your eyes?
Yes, we were previously we were on what we were calling the pre-opening phase, which was a very strict phase. You remember, we had in terms of numbers, we had a maximum of 100 people, irrespective of how big your place of worship is. In terms of time, we had only 60 minutes. You can only meet for 60 minutes. In terms of age, we had age 13 to 58 are the ones who are allowed to go into these places of worship. In phase 1, the 3 were adjusted in terms of numbers, and now as per the size of your facility. We were observing the social distancing of 1.5 meters. So you rearrange your facility, or whether they are seats or benches, you mark them out with a distance of 1.5 meters from every person. And whatever number you can fit within that space, that will be the number you can hold within a service. So it means if you have a bigger sanctuary, You can have more people. If you have small, you have fewer people. Unlike the previous one where everybody was restricted to a maximum of 100 people. Then in terms of time, we moved to 90 minutes from 60 minutes. So now you can hold a 90-minute service, 1.5 hours. And then in terms of age, that also was adjusted from age 6 to 65. So it is a wider range of people.
60 to 65.
6 to 65, yes.
Oh, if you're six years. Okay, all right.
Yes, if you are 6 years,
yes.
You can go to your place of worship up to 65. So those were the three main differences. Everything else remains the same. The requirements of wearing masks, of washing hands, of keeping distance, avoiding personal body contact, no greetings, no hugs, no crowding, and all those things. Those are standards that are running through the season.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask? You are the Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, and I know that for sure. Christ is the Answer Ministries, as of yesterday, was still online. Could I ask, or am I preempting some discussions you need to have? Could I ask, what are you looking at very specifically concerning the church over which you're the bishop in terms of reopening?
Yes, we made an announcement to our members last Sunday, not yesterday, that with the new adjustments, we are looking at how does that impact our own assemblies and ministry, and how do we organize ourselves to reopen. Most of our assemblies in CITAM are quite large. We have, like, say, Valley Road that accommodates about 10,000 people on a Sunday morning in 2-3 services. Our smallest assemblies are around 500 people. So just looking at the logistics of how do we then organize our people within the arrangements that we have. So we are working on those logistics, and we are preparing ourselves, and then we are going to announce to our members when we can resume in-house worship. But otherwise, we are preparing ourselves for the same.
All right. Okay, let me take us to matters national, shall we say politics, national politics, matters around that. And I wonder what you've been observing even while moving around the nation, listening and watching news. What do you see at the political arena in our nation?
The political scene doesn't seem to be very good, in my view. One, of course, we have that stalemate of our finances in the Senate, which was not a very good. It's not a very good thing. That 9 meetings away, they are not able to resolve the matter. That has been unfortunate. And then, of course, within that period, we had several senators that were arrested. It is not clear for what purposes. Meanwhile, we have had this whole issue of corruption or alleged corruption on COVID-19 funds. And to me, that is perhaps the most painful, if I would put it, because this thing of corruption seems to be dogging us. We are not overcoming it. And I just don't know what we can do, because even if people were to be corrupt and if people were to steal money, surely stealing COVID-19 monies is the worst thing that anybody can do. When the whole world is shut down because of this pandemic that has ravaged the world, when we as a nation our whole economy has been shut down because of this pandemic. What one would hope is that whoever is in a place of responsibility would be doing whatever is in their capacity to do to ensure that we overcome this challenge. And so to find that such people are doing the exact opposite or are alleged to be doing the exact opposite is the worst that anybody can do. It's really sabotaging the nation. It is an evil that should not be tolerated at all. And so for me, it's a very sad thing. Of course, as we say, it is still an allegation, but these allegations turn out to be true because as you have seen, the doctors, the medical fraternity have gone on strike because they do not have the resources for the relevant equipment that they need, even for their own protection. So it means that actually there are no funds. Otherwise, it should have been channeled in that direction to help them. So it's a very, very sad thing. And whoever are behind it really should, their conscience should prick them to bring back those resources and to help us get out of this pandemic.
In the meantime, some people have been raising the issue of that in this kind of a situation, certain leaders then ought to step aside to allow for investigations. Is that what a leader should do at a time like this?
You know, we have had these stories over and over and over again.
Yes.
And we stepping aside by itself doesn't seem to be helping us. What we really need is people to be prosecuted, resources to be brought back, because people are dying because they are not. We are not able to help them because of lack of resources. So stepping aside is but one thing. What we need is people to be prosecuted and made to pay for their sins and their evils.
That's when they're caught, when we know who exactly has done this.
Why should we not? Money is not air. I mean, money is solid. I mean, money. You can trace. I mean, if you had 100 shillings in your pocket, or you can trace who took it, and this and how they are government systems. Talking about our strategies, government systems are very strict. Government systems are very systematic, so things don't just move. For any shilling to move from a government coffers, there are signatures, there are forms to be filled, and so on and so forth. So there's nothing that can move just like that, you know, unless it was a robbery, you know, where people went in the darkness of the night and went to the vault and hauled away the money. But
even so, we have CCTV.
Yes.
Even if it was like that. Yes.
Even if there would be CCTV. So there's somebody who signed a document somewhere, and this money went to somebody and went to somebody. Those people must be known. They are known. So why should we be beating around the bush about it? As if it was 2 shillings that was on the table somewhere and somebody walked into the room and walked away with it without knowledge. Government systems are very strict.
Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. So it's really a call for people to do the right thing. Whether the one who needs to tell us what happened, to you, more or less talking like the one who said even land has history. So money has kind of a history. You can tell from here it went here, and then from here it went here. How we can answer those? Certain people can answer those questions.
Yes, I think that there are people who need to answer those questions. And I remember once upon a time, our Archbishop for the Anglican Church, who is now in charge of the anti-corruption authority, Archbishop Wabukala.
Wabukala, yes.
Called on the president to declare a state of emergency with regard to corruption. Or at the minimum, declare a national disaster. What that would do is that you would then apply special laws to deal with this situation. Because following the current legal system does not seem to be helping us. Because there are cases in court that have been there for years, all the way from Goldenberg to Anglo Leasing to NYS to the containers of in the medical ministry and so on. Billions and billions cases are in court. No prosecution has taken place. So just taking people to court and telling them to step aside will not give us the money. What we really need is money to help our people get out of this pandemic. So declare a state of emergency or declare it a national disaster, and then now call on special action to be taken that can.
Like what? I'm curious there. Like what? What, for example, would that mean, or how would that look like?
You know, I'm not a lawyer, but lawyers can help us. But I understand that when you declare a state of emergency, certain aspects of the Constitution are suspended. So things like rights and so on, I have to get bail when I'm taken to court. You know, that all those processes that we have tied ourselves with. How can people who are alleged to have stolen our monies go to court and they are released? They go back to their offices, they are doing their work. When now you declare that, it means that you apply different laws from what are in the Constitution, and that will be declared with the state of emergency. So because this is now an emergency, so you don't, in emergency, you don't deal with things the normal way. And that's what it will do. So that a case can be started and we say within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or at maximum 1 month, we want this matter sorted out and finished. And it is done. So we don't go getting injunctions and I don't know what. And meanwhile, people are dying.
True. So you would actually go that direction in refreshing our memory on what Archbishop Wabukala had once called for. You would call for the same currently, presently?
Yes, I would. And that's what I'm doing even now.
The writer of the news needs to say that Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministry has called on the president to call for a national to call corruption or declare corruption a national disaster.
Yes.
At the very least.
Yes.
Okay.
That's so that we can deal with this thing. I think Kenyans are tired of being told stories and being taken around in circles. How comes that small guys are taken to court and their cases are completed within no time? The big guys, even when we were excited that finally the big fish are being caught, but they remain at sea. They are caught and they are not brought to land, you know? So when you catch fish and you don't bring it on land, you'll still go hungry. So that fish needs to be landed.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bishop. Yes. I will take you back to where we left it last time. That's before you went on assignment, where we were talking about the Defender strategy, the defender strategy. We began, we were to go to more strategies, but so that's where we began. Could you just do for us a short recap of the defender strategy and then take us to the next strategy you wanted to share with us?
Yes, we talked about, we are talking about innovation for those people who may be joining us for the very first time. We are talking about innovation, and we are talking about strategies for innovation and how different people approach this whole issue of innovation. And one of them is what we call the defender strategies. And we are talking about organizations, companies, even nations on how they approach innovation. The defender strategy basically means that you have a product or you have a service or you have a way of doing things that you have used over time or you want to get into. And so your level of service is focused on a very specific area. And usually this kind of strategy is in a stable environment where things are not changing too much. And so you have identified your area and you want to keep your product or your service within that area. As we said last time, the defender strategy, basically by its very title, is that you defend your territory. You defend any other people from entering into that space. You distinguish yourself from the competition. And so you are in this space where you are almost a specialized in your area, and you don't allow anybody else to be there. So the primary success is through doing what you know how to do best. So in your area of specialization, whether it is in a service area or a product or in the way of doing things, you are focused on doing what you know how to do best and not allowing anybody to enter into that space. So your success will be based on establishing processes that are clearly defined, and you refine them for better production, for better delivery within that particular area. We gave examples in this particular strategy. Initially, we talked about like Apple, for example, was using this strategy when they entered into the computer market, in the technology market. But before that, you know, there was Microsoft that was in that space. And so when Apple entered into the space, basically they developed their product such that it was not compatible or shareable with any other. So if you took their way, it was their way and no other way. You know, you couldn't share their products. And to a large extent, that is still their strategy. So you find that even up to very recently, there's been quite a bit of adjustment. However, you couldn't even share a charger, you know, a simple thing as a charger with any other phone. If you are using an Apple phone, you can't just buy a charger on the street if it is not made by Apple themselves. It will just not work. So that is a defender strategy where they, if you choose to use our products, then you use our products exclusively. It's almost like a club. So therefore, nobody else is able to enter into that space. You find, for example, Apple products are not easily, what can I say? Very few fake Apple products, yes, because they will just not work, you know, with their products. For a very long time, for example, I mentioned that you couldn't just walk into a shop and buy an iPhone. You know, you had to register yourself. You had to be like a member of the club for you to buy an iPhone. You couldn't just get any SIM card and put it in there. They had contracts that they had signed with specific phone companies, and those are the only ones that could run on their phones. So that is a Defender strategy of way of doing things, that you are an exclusive club for just your people. Your products are for specific market, and nobody else can enter into that space. That's why it is called Defender, because you defend your territory. It is an exclusive space. So for that to happen administratively, it's very efficient, because you are dealing with very specific products that you yourself have created, and you know what to do, how to do it. You have no competition. You are doing your own thing, but then structures become very rigid, centralized, careful control of processes and procedures. We have specialist department. It's like I say, I can only describe it as a club. We all know what we are doing. We all know our product. We all know our customers. We know what we provide in the market, and so on and so forth. There's a sense in which it's a much easier way of doing things, because, like I said, you know what you are doing, and your space is defined. So you are not running here and there and everywhere. What we said a little earlier about being focused. So the Defender strategy is a very focused strategy. So I think we talked quite a bit about that last time.
Yes,
but for those who are not around, that is the recap that we can give.
All right. Can you go to the second strategy?
The second strategy is called the prospector strategy. Beach and Connolly, who have come up with these strategies, say that the prospector strategy is almost the opposite of Defender. They are people who look for new opportunities. They are focused on doing the right thing, not just doing things right. So if you are in a particular market segment, you want to find out what is the best way in which we can deliver our products or our services. And so you are consistently or constantly exploring new ways of doing things. The prospector strategy, as the name suggests, they value being reputed as innovators. So they're always coming up with new ideas, new products, new ways of doing things. So unlike the Defenders, they are not too concerned about the competition and people copying them. Because while you are copying their current product, they are already moving into a new one. By the time you are catching up with what they had, they have already moved to something else. So most people then who want to copy them will be playing catch up all the time, because they are very innovative, exploring new ways of doing things, trying things. It's a very risk-taking oriented kind of a strategy of innovation. So you want to explore new ways, new products, new ideas. These people in what we call the R&D department, research and development department, is very vibrant. You have people there who are consistently and constantly thinking of new ways of doing things. So that is what they are known for as prospectors. So they have very flexible processes, as you can imagine. The rule book is not big. So they work they work with principles, they work with objectives, They work with strategies, but not with rules and regulations, because otherwise they will be adjusting their rule book almost every day, because you want to consistently and constantly be exploring new ways of doing things. So you have a very flexible processes for doing business. Administratively also, the structures are very flexible to facilitate work rather than to control activity. So the people who work within this kind of an environment used very flexible ways of executing their work. So you are given the broad guidelines. This is what we do. This is what we are aiming at. So the vision, the mission, the objectives, the values, the goals are what are key, not the product, not the service. So if you can meet our objectives, you are good to go, whichever direction route you take. So
are they making money? I'm running with curiosity. Who's making more money here? This number two, the prospector strategist, or the defender strategist? Let's imagine the product is a money-making one. What do you think?
What we're talking about here is more of impact and effectiveness than money. Because
I think the defender was thinking about money.
Money you can even steal. So money cannot be a measure. Money can never be a measure of success. Money is a byproduct of success. That's what I tell people. If you set up a business or a company or an organization to make money, you have failed from the start, because then you will look for any means to get money. And as I say, that can include stealing and fraud, and we know companies who do that. They give you fake products, they give you substandard goods, because all they want is to make money. So money can never be a measure of success. Money should be a byproduct of your success. And if you are giving people good service, if you are giving people good products, money will come as automatically. So money should never be your focus. So what is your focus? Your focus, and that is where your vision, your mission. You can't have a vision of make money, that our mission is to make money. That is not a mission statement. If you find a company that their mission statement is to make money, I don't know what you would think about that company, because they will use whatever means to make money. So any organization, company should have a vision, should have a mission, and that is to deliver a service, to bring a product, to solve human problems. That is why we exist. That was the mandate that God gave Adam and Eve at the Garden of Eden. Subdue and rule the earth. And that's what we continue to do. So you find your segment of rule and subduing, and you take that, money will be a byproduct.
The way. Yeah, the byproduct, yes. Okay.
Yes, while you are doing that. So what we then look for is impact, effectiveness, efficiency, success. Those are what will be measures of how well your company, your organization, or even you as an individual is succeeding in whichever strategy that you take.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Can I don't know whether you would give us an example. Would you give us an example like you gave us Apple for the Defender strategy? What organization or company can you look at from where you are and say this is a good example of people with their prospector strategy?
I would say, for example, locally, Safaricom is a prospector. They are always thinking of new ways of doing things. Safaricom is primarily a telecom company. They set out to give people telecommunication services,
yes.
Which in the beginning was making calls. But now you know that Safaricom is doing almost everything. They are always thinking of new ideas. They are always coming up with new things that answer to the needs of the people. And so they have made the phone almost an item that you cannot do without. You know, you do almost everything from your phone, and they are offering you these solutions on your phone. So it has grown from just a simple telecom company that gives you voice calls to almost everything. And they are consistently there. I think the last time we were talking about Safaricom, I said that now they are newspaper vendors. You know, you
yes, they are.
They're now vending newspapers. Safaricom is selling music, you know, with the Sikiza tunes and so on. And I mean, it is almost everything. They're providing internet connectivity. And they are consistently thinking of new things. And that is how, in my view, they have been able to leave behind their competition. So that other companies, there are other telecom companies in the country, and they try to get into this space. But while they are entering in this space, Safaricom has gone into another level. So you just find that the competition doesn't keep up. In fact, they have even gone to government to say, make laws to control Safaricom, you know, so that they don't keep running. But they just keep running. I remember recently when there was this whole issue about the data bundles and the expiry of data bundles. They were taken to court that they are robbing people by selling you bundles, and before it is even finished, it is expired. Before even the case was determined, they had come up with these bundles that are not expiring. And so they had moved ahead of the case to in an innovative manner. So this is really a good example, in my view, of a prospector company and strategy. So they are never sitting down within one area, but consistently and constantly thinking of what else can we do? What are the needs of the people? And they are based on needs of people. When you look at this, the whole thing of even lending you money to make a call, which you will pay later, you know, those were needs. Somebody wants to make a call, they have run out of airtime, they don't have money at that time. There's a possibility that you can make a call in advance, and then the next time you load your airtime, it will be deducted. Very
I don't know, Bishop, but I want to engage you a little bit further on this as the example, because maybe I would like to ask a few questions about.
Ask.
Yes, let me take the news highlights. That's for you who are listening to us on radio, Hope FM. Just about time to get the news highlights at 12. And then we will be back with Bishop on the Leadership Forum. Stand by for the news highlights. And if you're with us on Facebook, we continue looking at some of the posts that you have put up for us. Listen and learn.
Hi, Bishop. Hi, Wambui.
Hi, how are you?
We're fine, thank you. Well, thank you so much for the wonderful.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you very well, loud and clear.
Okay.
Yeah, we were saying thank you first and foremost for the amazing conversation that you've had in the previous hour. We really enjoyed it. We were taking quite a lot of notes, hoping that we can engage with you in the same kind of intellectual capacity.
Are we closing in?
I hope so. Imagine.
Yeah, I guess pretty much so far as we've come right now, I am bamboozled. Just picking your mind on intellectual capacity.
All right.
Bamboozled by the second strategy. It is very exciting and has a lot of progressive elements to it. Most of it is not static to what we have innovated, but what is bringing solutions to the world and solving human problems, and bringing joy and enthusiasm in terms of products that they come up with. What's exciting about the prospectus strategy, I think what I've picked most is other people play catch up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have quite a number of comments coming in. A lot of people are appreciating the conversation. Gertrude says she's tuned in. Brevs Cherio from Nakuru says DJ Brevs Cherio. Bishop, you have DJs listening in, and they're very excited. They're saying they're locked in. Joshua Makau listening from the office in Buruburu and says he's really blessed. Hillary from Nakuru County saying that he's blessed. And we have Mokazi Fred saying, praise the Lord, servant of God. Valia Katie is tuned in as usual. God bless you. And they love the Leadership Forum. And quite a lot of people, Jacqueline, Alphonse, John Correa, Sylvia Muse, Faith Otieno, Evangelist, Opetu Collins, and many more appreciating the conversation. Others listening in from Bahrain, we have Maria tuned in from Bahrain. Others are saying they're missing physical church, and so forth. So those are the comments that are coming in, and a lot of people are grateful for the conversation. Now, in the same light, of course, people were appreciating also the comments that you mentioned about accountability from a governmental perspective, and the fact that there's a system that can account for any losses that could have taken place. And I think the major thing that people are pointing out is the lack of commitment and integrity being also a cause of why we are encountering those kind of challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I think we should join Bishop in calling for a state of emergency or declaring national corruption a national disaster.
Yeah. As it was, as Bishop actually mentioned it before, Bishop Wabukala was attempting to do and calling on the president to do was an issue of national concern.
Yeah, I don't know what the consequences would be on the
that conversation can never end.
For sure.
I think, God forbid, but probably by next week, when we're having Leadership Forum, probably there will be another tangent in the discussion.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But at least to do justice to this time that we are online before Bishop resumes on air, we would actually like to look at the prospectus strategy.
Okay.
And the things that Bishop mentioned. Now, Bishop, if you don't mind, we would like to give you a small break as you sip some water, and we hold fort for you just for a few minutes, and then you can come back in a few minutes when you take it up with Wambui.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent.
The sound of water is good.
Yeah. So, thank you so much. So
Yes.
now, talking about the transition that we've had from the defender strategy into the prospector strategy,
Yeah.
I just like how the whole conversation began.
Mhm.
It is a strategy that looks for new opportunities
Mhm.
and not necessarily focused on doing the right thing.
Doing things right.
Yeah, not it's focused on doing the right thing rather,
Yeah.
and not just doing things right.
Exactly.
That statement resonated with me greatly. Okay, being a creative, I always tend to find myself having a little bit of a challenge
Yeah.
when I'm trying to explain to somebody this new innovation or this thing that we should do or this idea that I have on board.
For sure. Yeah.
Being the idea person, and you're like, guys, this is what we can do.
And you see that the problem with
Yeah.
these kind of thinkers is they always can come out offensive.
Yeah.
Because they actually really think.
Yeah.
They use their brains to for what they were called to do.
Their
brains.
You're an idea person.
Yes.
Sometimes you wake up in the night and you're calling your manager. You're like, I have this idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just take it slow.
Exactly. And because of that, for sort of traditional thinkers or defender kind of thinkers,
Yeah.
it is very easy for them to be offended with newer kind of new ideas or new strategies that may pop in.
Absolutely. Now, remember that we are live on Facebook at Hope FM Live. That is for the FM page on Facebook, and also at Hope TV Kenya on for the Facebook channel of Hope TV, and also on YouTube. We are live at Hope FM Live, so you can follow the conversation and share the link with other people. Remember to subscribe to our pages and let people know that this conversation is happening. They can follow it from the comfort of their homes, whichever device they have. As long as they have a connection, they can be able to follow this conversation. And we will be resuming back on air shortly. Pastor Wamboy Mboro will be taking Bishop through the conversation in the second hour. And remember, our text line is 20933. You can always share in your comment, and you can say what you think, contribute towards the conversation, and we would love to engage with you in an amazing way. And just also to let you know that you can also be a friend of Hope, and the details are scrolling on our screen, a way that you can partner with us in spreading hope and keeping hope alive towards the nations of this world. So thank you so much for keeping us company. We appreciate your company, and we continue in the conversation with Martin here. Now, Martin.
Yes.
He mentioned something about not being focused on competition. Always expecting a new way of doing things.
Yeah.
A bit on that. What was your perspective regarding
that? If the defender is the defender focused on competition? Not really. I think it's
not really.
I think it's one boy who mentioned, but they are more business or money oriented, sort of, right?
Yes, but I also want to think in regards to the clarification.
Yeah, for sure.
That also Bishop shared. The defender strategy has locked out competition in a way. So to a degree, there's a focus on competition where you are locking out other competitors from entering into your space.
Yes.
Whereas
the prospector
is not really concerned about competition. You want to copy my idea? Well, let's
do it. Yeah.
As you do that, I'll be miles ahead of you. I will have jumped ship. I would have already come up with a new innovation, and I'm already moving faster than you can even catch up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was you who mentioned, I think, the one company we've been using as an example in this aspect, Apple.
Yeah.
You said they probably have employed both strategies, so that they are sort of leading in innovations.
Yeah.
And at the same time also sort of defending their technology, so to speak. So I feel like it's a very interesting angle. And the other thing about not being concerned so much about competition that I found being interesting is the fact that if competition was something that was big for them, they would constantly.
Did you know the Friends of Hope is an initiative of Hope Media? Through this initiative, we are able to partner with others who are keen to ensure that we keep hope alive. Through your support, we are sharing the hope we have with many others who are yet to embrace hope. You too can become a part of this initiative today. Send your contribution of any amount to M-Pesa paybill number 933933. Account name Friends of Hope. For more information regarding Friends of Hope, please email friendsofhope@hopefm.org or SMS FOH to 20933. Join Friends of Hope today. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive. Another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries.
We are back with a conversation on the Leadership Forum, and we were holding forth online. And as we're about to go on air, we would like to welcome back Wambui Mburu and the presiding Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, Reverend Dr. David Oginde. I'm here with Mr. Martin Ochola. He was rocking a suit today, Bishop. I don't know if you noticed him.
Doing very well.
He was determined to impress the clergy, and I think he did a good job at it.
Wow.
Exactly.
Bishop, are you impressed?
Yeah.
It was his way of applying the prospector strategy.
Thank you.
And I think he's doing a good job at it. Wambui,
Yes.
any communication on the SMS line? Maybe you can take it up from there.
Let me take it up. On the SMS line, we are using 20933. If you can write us there, that's the SMS line, 20933. And of course, you got all the other ways of commenting online. I can see quite a number of you who have said beautiful leadership conversation. That's from Munga Lemaron. Interesting name. Yes, saying it's a beautiful leadership conversation. Watching from Kajiado is Shepherd Ian. And Jos Kisham says, defender keeps on refining focus. Is that correct? That the defender, the one using the defender's strategy, keeps refining focus. Is that so, Bishop? You said that? Or are you being quoted out of context?
No, that is correct. That is correct.
Yes. Uh-huh.
The defender is within a specific line of service or products, and they refine that. They keep making it better and better. But within that, yes.
Yes, someone is talking again about Safaricom na bundles, and didn't say anything else. Just Safaricom na bundles. You know, I felt like pursuing that example of Safaricom, because in a sense you make them sound like such saints, and I wasn't too sure. No, I wasn't too sure that they are doing all of this for me and for you. I am not sure. It could be it's me who is wrong, but I was thinking that money is somewhere at the back of their minds, even when doing all these innovations, rather than how will Wambui benefit, or Wanjiku for that matter.
Yeah, what we are saying is this: if you are in business, whatever, and by business here I mean in a broad sense, even church is in business in that sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We are in the business of preaching the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Now,
true.
you do know that there are people who have entered into the church arena for making money. And they are messing up the whole thing. So that's why I say money should never be a focus for entering into any business or any service. Your focus should be in providing a solution to human need. Money will then follow. It is a natural byproduct, as it were, because you're in business. So if you enter into the church arena, for example, to offer solutions to human need from a spiritual perspective, people will give their money towards that service. You do not have to persuade them. You do not have to con them. You do not defraud them. They will naturally give their money because they are finding solutions to their problem. But if your sole reason for entering into the spiritual arena is to make money, then you have to come up with all kinds of gimmicks, and we have seen them, all kinds of tricks, because you do not have the product, and therefore you have to trick people. You have to defraud people. That is the difference that we are saying, and that goes into any field of business, and I'm using the word business here in the broad sense. So there's the spiritual business, there is the social business, there is all kinds of products. Any arena that you enter with the sole purpose of making money, you are not likely to succeed well. You will have to cut corners. And you find people, whatever business arena, you can go into hardware, and your only reason for going into hardware is to make money. Then you will give people substandard materials because you want to get substandard mabatis that have been rejected in factory. You buy it at a cheap price. You come and sell at exorbitant price. You make your money because money is what is driving you. You see, that is a very different thing. But if you have noticed in your area, people are building, but they have to travel so far to go and get their building materials. So you decide, I will provide a solution. I'll bring a hardware store near to the people. And so you decide to set up a hardware store near where you are and where people are. And they start coming, and you're giving them that solution of not having to travel far to find their hardware. And you give them quality hardware products. If it is mabatis, nails, whatever, you get the very best, you bring it to them, you charge them good amount of money. In the process, you make your profits.
Yes. Okay.
It's completely different. So I know that there are many people who get into all kinds of sectors with the sole purpose of making money. Money can never be a vision statement. Money cannot be a mission statement. That is the difference I'm saying. So you talked about Safaricom with the money being behind. Yes, they're in business to make money.
Yes, well, they should sound made to sound as though they're being so nice.
No, I'm not here to market Safaricom. I'm just using an example of a prospector. I can give you another prospector example, again, local. Equity Bank.
Okay.
You know, Equity Bank, in my view, is also a prospector, has a prospector strategy in the business of banking. You know?
Okay.
So they looked at the banking industry and found that at that time, banking was basically for the people who have money, the rich guys, big guys.
Yes, true.
And they entered into that space to bring a solution to offer banking to the lower cadre people. Banks were only found in big towns and in big sectors of those towns. Then Equity comes and brings banks right down to the village, into the slum areas. And they offered a solution. The people who are banking there, they are bringing their 100 shillings, they are bringing their 1,000 shillings. But those 1,000 shillings, 500 shillings, and so on, turns out to be billions of shillings. And they make their money. Now they are one of the biggest banks in the country. And even the big banks started going now to catch up with them.
Yes, true.
They got into
They would call you, literally.
Yes, they got into mobile money. And instead of using the existing mobile platforms, they created their own mobile platform, Equitel, and just got into another sector there. That you can you can do mobile banking at a cheaper price than what the telecom companies were offering. Again, prospector. They are getting into spaces that people have not thought about, spaces that people, possibly the big banks, the big corporates, thought were too risky. You come to Cooperative Bank. Again, you find another prospector strategy there that has made Cooperative Bank to be one of the most profitable banks in the country. Lending to groups that are considered risky. For a long time, very few banks would lend, for example, to churches, because churches are not in business. They normally they would want a bank would want to see your income statements and so on, and how you are doing business, and it can be projected that by this time you'll have made this much. Now, a church depends on donations. And donations are not predictable because it depends on the goodwill of the people. And so many banks for a long time could not lend a church money. Cooperative Bank comes into that space and says, we will look at your books in terms of what you are doing and how you are doing it, and how monies are coming in, your offerings and so on. And we can project that, and by faith, as it were, we will walk with you.
They decided to walk by faith.
Walk by faith. Yes. Basically, it's by faith, because there are, when you put it from a purely business sense, there is no product you are selling. There is no service you are offering that people are paying for.
As a
so
church.
You cannot predict. Yes, as a church. So you cannot predict that we are going to increase our services by this. I mean, service here, I don't mean the service of church, but I mean the offering that the product you are offering. You cannot predict it. People give by goodwill.
It's true.
So it's a faith venture. And that is why many banks prior to this were not giving loans to church and religious groups, because you can't predict. And secondly, taking security, a church building as security. Who will buy a church building if you want to auction?
You look very bad to start with.
But then Cooperative Bank enters into that space and are willing to take a church property as security to give you money. And they completely change that space. So these again are prospector strategies that people who are thinking outside of the box are able to develop services, are able to develop products that are not being offered by other people in that sector. And that is what prospectors really does. And it requires you to be very flexible in your structures, in your systems. And the examples that I've given, you'll find that flexibility is one of their strong points. That they are ready to adjust to your needs. They are ready to adjust to changing times. And in many cases, they are always ahead of the competition.
All right. Someone is, by the way, I've seen quite a number of comments about what you said about money not being in any statement of vision. For example, Gordon Juma in Eldoret noted that, says, very true, Bishop. I saw that on SMS line 20933. I also saw from Rispa, who says, I'm supporting the Bishop on doing that declaration of national emergency. The corruption is draining this country. The president needs to declare it a national emergency. Nyakando from Utawala, writing still on the SMS line before I get to some of you who are commenting on Facebook, is asking, is a prospective leader then full of hidden tricks? For some reason, it felt like this would be my trigger process.
It's not a prospective, but a prospector.
Yes. Oh, sure. Sorry.
Is a dreamer. Is a person who is consistently and constantly thinking of different ways of doing things. Is a person who is constantly looking at their environment and seeing what are the needs, what are the challenges, and how can we offer solutions to those needs and those challenges. So this is a person who is consistently dreaming, consistently scanning the environment, and consistently coming up with new ways of doing things. So it's not tricks. It is what can I say without using this word innovation, and creative. It is a creative thinking.
He's just a creative fella who doesn't care too much about the profit that his creativity brings.
The big difference between the defender, because remember, all these are innovation strategies for innovation. Both the defender and the prospector are both using their styles for innovation. The big difference is that the defender is innovating within a very clearly defined environment that they have identified to operate within. The prospector is looking broader and is willing to take risk into venturing into unknown territories. So that is usually the big difference between the two.
All right. So that's using a favorite word of yours, continuum. If the defender is on one end of the continuum, the prospector is on the other end of the continuum. Is that correct?
For the two, yes. But we have a few others. So the prospector
will be in the middle, I guess.
Somewhere in the middle, yes. But
all right, go ahead.
For the two, they are at different ends of the spectrum or the continuum. Yes.
All right. I'm seeing someone who is asking, how does one tell? Richard is asking this question. How does one tell that they have started, rather stopped being innovative? How does one tell? Whatever now I'm thinking, I'm not being innovative anymore.
I think we talked about it a little earlier. Maybe our listener was not there at the time, but we said when you are settled on the current ways of doing things, when you have you feel like you have discovered how to do certain things, then you know that you're now not being innovative. The moment you settle down and you feel or you have this belief that we have found it. I even talked about the rule book. When your rule book becomes bigger and bigger, you know that you are not innovating. You are moving out of the innovation area. We talked about the Bible saying, "Woe unto you who are at ease in Zion."
In Zion.
Yes. complacent.
I
When
recall.
you get to that place where you are settled, you are no longer moving on. I have preached this story of Abraham and his father. You know, they who left the Ur of the Chaldeans on his way. Actually, when he left the Ur of the Chaldeans together with Abraham as his son and his wife and the whole family, they were headed to Canaan.
Yes.
But they came to a place called Haran, and the Bible says they stopped there. And 200 and something years later, he died in Haran. He lost the vision of Canaan. He settled in Haran. And many of us set out to go to Canaan, to this beautiful, powerful place. But we get to Haran, and you are settled with small things. You are happy with the current status. And the people who really die in Haran are successful people.
Interesting.
Yes. The people who die in Haran are successful people, successful businesses.
The people
yes.
who died in Haran, yet they were headed for Canaan.
Canaan, yes. Because you come to Haran, you come to this place where whatever you started doing is thriving and it's doing very well. You have not reached where you really wanted to go, but the little that you are doing now is so much more than you had expected. So you are just happy to continue doing what you are doing now, and you don't.
Flourishing.
It is flourishing, and you remember the innovation obstacles we talked about. You know, we don't do things like that here. We have tried that before. And when people come up with ideas, new ideas, you feel like, no, we can't go there because this is working. If it is not broke, why fix it? You know?
Yes.
Then you know
why?
And we said you sometimes you need to break it. Sometimes you need to break it so that
you can fix it. Yes. Even as a leader.
Yes. So you know that you are in that place called Haran when you have stopped thinking of new ways of doing things. You are settled and happy with the current situation. The problem with that is that, number one, there are people who are constantly and consistently studying the way you are doing things. And they want to get into your space. And they will come and benchmark
like you.
Yes, they will come and benchmark with you, borrow your ideas. And usually people who borrow your ideas tend to improve on your ideas and do them slightly better than you are doing. And before you know it, you're out of business because there are other people who have entered your space. So the only way to ensure that you are always ahead of the competition is to have consistent improvement. And that's why we have this subject of innovation. And that is in every field. I know that there are fellow pastors who may be listening to us or watching us, even in the spiritual arena. If you are not going to be thrown out of business, and I mean business now, the spiritual business, by your competitors, you had better be innovative. You had better be thinking ahead. And I said again that your competitors are not necessarily other churches. Your competitors are those who don't believe in God. Those people who are of other faiths. Those are your real competitors. And they're the ones who will draw your customers away from you. So you need to think how you are going to stay ahead, how you are going to keep moving towards Haran, or rather towards Canaan. Haran may have been a very good place. Haran may be a very successful place. You may be doing very well. Those of us who think about money, money is coming in a good way. Your bank account is doing very well. But always remember that Haran was not your final destination. So that the only way you can survive that kind of a situation is to be consistently innovative. And this is where the prospector strategy comes in, because the prospector is always exploring, is always thinking of new ways, is always looking at new territories, is always trying to see how else can we do it. Breaking the norms, doing things that people are not doing, entering into spaces that people are not in. That is the way to stay ahead of the game. You remember in one of our, I mentioned that if you keep playing the same game, you could find yourself practicing your present skills and becoming best players in a game that is no longer being played. That is Larry Wilson who said that. Without innovation, without creativity, we can easily continue practicing our present skills and become best players in a game that no one is playing any longer. And so while you are doing your thing here, somebody else will come and take your space. Somebody else will come and drive you out of business. So innovation is not a choice. It is actually the thing that keeps big companies in business. Let me try and introduce the next stage, or rather the other strategy. The other strategy is called the analyzer strategy. The analyzer strategy, just as the name suggests, is a strategy where it's actually a careful combination of the cautious defenders and the risk-taking prospectors. These people analyze the market and take carefully calculated risks in developing new products or new services or new ideas while maintaining their core focus. So I mentioned earlier that there is need for any person in any sector of business, and I use the word business in the broad sense of it, not just making money. Like I said, you could be in the spiritual business, as it were, or sector. You are not a defender where you are defending your territory and defending your way of doing things, nor are you a risk taker that is consistently and constantly exploring new ways of doing things, but you are analyzing the market, studying how things are, and taking calculated risks in developing new products, new ways of doing things, while maintaining focus on your original area. So you are a defender in a specific aspect of or segment of the market, but at the same time exploring other ways. So the combination of this is what we call the analyzer strategy. So in the analyzer strategy, processes are open to new methods while retaining well-established systems. So this kind of organizations, what they do is that they develop very strong systems that guide how they do things, but they are open to changing and adjusting their processes on how things are done so that they can come up with better products, better services, new services. And in this way, they keep ahead of the competition without consistently or constantly changing the system. The administrative problems are therefore sorted by adapting to new structures as necessary, while not totally rocking the boat like the prospectors would. So it's a very kind of interesting way of doing business in the sense that you have clearly defined systems, you have clearly defined ways of doing things, You have clearly defined segment of doing work, but at the same time, you are ready and willing to get into new ways, new methods, new segments, new strategies that can help you do business better and stay ahead of the competition. So the analyzer strategy, we can, in simple terms, we can say is a combination of the defender and the prospector. You are scanning the environment. What is going on at the moment? Where are the people are at in our segment or in our sector? What are the needs that are there? What are the threats that are there? In fact, talking about threats, the analyzers tend to conduct consistent SWOT analysis, looking at our strengths, our weaknesses, looking at the opportunities that are opening up for us, the threats that are there, and then taking a new approach to doing work, to offering services, to developing products, so that you are consistently and constantly ahead of the competition. So processes are open to new methods while you retain your systems. Administration is semi-solid. You are not too focused on strong administrative structures. Those can adjust, but you have very carefully thought through systems and ways of doing things that then help the organization to be efficient and to be effective. That is the analyzer strategy, a combination of the two. That's why I had asked you, boy, when you asked, the analyzer is somewhere in between.
It seems to me the analyzer is right at the 50-50, taking 50 from this side and 50 from the other, right in the middle of the continuum.
Right in the middle of the two guys, yes.
I like the analyzer.
It's a strategy for innovation. One thing that makes the analyzer strategy very strong is the systems.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you develop systems of doing things that are very clear to everybody. Everybody knows how things are done in this place. Mm-hmm. That's what systems help. But within those systems, there is flexibility.
Yes.
So that you know that we don't tell you how to do things. Mm-hmm. We tell you what needs to be done, but give you freedom to think of how to do it. That is the key about the analyzer strategy. The systems are there. You know who to report to, where to get what you want, etc., etc. But how then you deliver your product is up to you. Let me go to the back to the banking sector, and an example that I've used before, and just use it to illustrate the analyzer strategy. Many years ago, the banking sector was one of the most rigid sectors in terms of systems and processes. The system and processes for getting a loan from a bank, for example, was very clear. How you apply, what you need to get, etc., etc., who signs what, who does what. And that is a process that could take you a whole month. If you wanted a loan from a bank, it could take you as long as is necessary. Now, with the analyzer strategy, the systems are put in place so that now when you go to a teller, you can ask your questions and they can listen to you and come up with a solution for you right on the spot. In fact, in some banks, they have a relationship manager who is outside in the hall, not even behind the desks. And you can go there and sit down, explain what you want, and they can give you guidance. And right there within 30 minutes or 1 hour, you can go away with your loan approved. Because they know what the system requires. The systems have been put in place, but the process is almost adjusted or tailor-made to every customer. So they will listen to your story. They will give you advice. Maybe this is what you need to do, and so on and so forth. And they can then make a decision right there on the spot and say, we can give you the loan. Or, unfortunately, from the look of things, we are unable to give you a loan. So you don't have to go meet, call, like it used to be.
No.
So what therefore has been done is that the systems are very clear. What you training your staff on are on the systems, how things are done, and what guides for example, what guides our loaning system. What do you need to look for? What kind of person qualifies, and so on and so forth. So those are laid down and very clear. How you deal with the customer is left to you as the teller, or as the relationship manager, or as the bank manager, provided we get to sell our money, because banks are in the business of selling money. That
selling money. Selling money for money. Okay. They're very interesting.
They make their money.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, so they buy and sell money. So when you go to deposit your money, they buy it from you. They give you a little interest. That's what the cost. And then you go and borrow. You pay for it. That's how they make their money. So the analyzer strategy is basically the base is laid. The structure you build on it is dependent on the circumstances.
All right. I saw someone saying about the analyzer strategy coming before the prospector strategy, and I wondered, is it coming out like, you remember, like we did the group formation, how a team forms? So there's a time that the tasks are different. I actually wondered, looking at that question from Gordon, who is in Eldoret, who was asking, may we conclude then that the analyzer strategy comes first before the prospector one? I thought to myself, does he have a point in that, depending on where you're at in your journey of formation, if I call it like that, of an organization, you may need, let's say, a defender strategy. Later, as you grow, you may need to change that into analyzer. Then you can become the generous prospector. What do you think? Can a journey look like that?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because these are independent approaches. In fact, I would call them approaches to innovation.
Okay.
So they are not building on each other like the different stages of building teams. No, they are just different approaches. So one person may take one approach, another person takes a different approach. They're all innovative, they're all creative, but their creativity is within this particular approach. This is how they approach their creativity. For example, I would just, for the sake of example, would say in CITAM we value systems, and structures.
Yes, we do.
So we have laid down very clear systems and structures. But within those systems and structures, then we allow our staff, whether you are a senior pastor, whether you are the head of media, whether you are the head of the university, or whatever role you are playing within our organization, you are free to dream, you are free to explore ways of doing things, provided it is within our systems and structures. That's the approach we have taken as an organization. So it is not like we moved from Defender, now we are in Analyzer, then we are going to go to Prospector. No.
Why can't we do that? What would happen? I'm just being innovative, my bishop. What would happen if we did that?
No, you can change. You can change, for example. That's why we are sharing these ideas, because you may find that perhaps the reason we are not growing is because we have been too defensive. And I mentioned that Apple changed, from their strategy.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
They did. They found that people are entering into their market and eating into their market. So they realized that if we keep on this 100% defender strategy, very soon we'll be out of business.
Okay.
Because they were no longer the only ones who are producing smartphones. Apple were the first to produce smartphones. Then some people came into that space. They needed that compatibility with other products. People are producing products and they want to run them on their computers, and they find that you can't run this software in your computer. So I move on to buy a Microsoft product, And so realize that your defender strategy is not working for you, so you change,
Okay.
But if it is working, why change? Stay right there if it is working for you. So it is not like there are different stages where you can say you move from Defender, go to Analyzer, then go to Prospector, and the one I'm just about to mention, that is not how it works. These are different approaches that one makes, that one takes, and all of them, there's none that is better than the other. It simply depends on which segment are you in, what is the environment saying, what are your competitors doing, how are you surviving in your market space. That is what will determine whether you are using the right strategy or not.
All right.
Yes.
And I don't know, where would you place this question? It had come much earlier, when we discussed a bit of the political scene, and a friend of yours, in being a defender strategist where a bishop is concerned, I think, said that I should stop involving you with politics. You should stick to your calling over bishop. And Sitambo, you should stop involving bishop in politics. And in a quick rejoinder, someone wrote back, since I can all see what everybody else has written, and said, what's wrong with you? Politics is part of these things. What do you think? Is he being the writer, Joram, is he being a defender strategist when he thinks like that? What is he doing?
What I would say is this, something that I have said. Politics is about the life and welfare of the people. It's about how we organize ourselves as a people. And one of the topics that we have had in this forum before is what we call organizational politics. And we say that it is a very important area for any leader in any organization to have political skills. So when it comes to national politics, it's about how the people we have selected and chosen run the affairs of the nation. So these are people who we ourselves, whether it is the president, whether it is a governor, a senator, an MCA, a chief, whoever it is, we are the ones who have given them the responsibility to rule over us, like the trees asked in the Bible. So we have given them that responsibility to rule over us. And because we have given them that responsibility to rule over us, they must be accountable to us who have chosen them. We can therefore not say that we will not engage in what they are doing. That is abdication of our responsibility. So we will allow them, we will not, like you give, say, your assistant some work to do. The best way is to, once you have given them proper instructions, you have given them what needs to be done, you let them do their work. And as long as they are doing their work well, you don't bother with them. But should you see things going wrong, they are doing things not in the way that you expected, you come back and say, no, this is not what I said. This is not what I meant. You give more clearer instructions. So you can't say, therefore, that you are interfering and meddling with the person that you gave work to do. These are the servants of the people, and we are the people who gave work. So if we see that they are not doing things the way we expected them to do, we have to step in and say, this is not right. You are not doing the way we expected. Could you make amendments here and there? But as long as they're doing their thing, we stay off. We let them do the work.
All right.
We don't have to bother with them. So that is how I see our responsibility and role, especially as religious leaders, and especially as church leaders. Our responsibility is to ensure that the servants of the people are doing the work that they were given in the way that God expects them to do. As long as they are doing their work, we have no business going to interrupt them. But as long as they're doing it well, we have a God-given mandate to step in and say, there you are not doing a good job.
Okay,
that is
thank you.
Our responsibility as church leaders.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop. And thank you for everyone that has sent a post, has just, even those of you who are simply happy to see us. So because you've always had us on air, now able to kind of put faces to the voices, and we're happy. We are happy that you're happy. And we thank God for this specific innovation that allows us to visit with you wherever you are and talk with you in this way. We thank God for all of you. We thank God for, and Bishop, you had wanted to just mention what's the next one, so that on Monday we will just pick up from where we've left it. So what's the next one? We have just a minute for that.
We will mention it when we get there on Monday.
Okay.
And when we get to.
It's something to look forward to. When we get back on Monday, I will also want to ask a question. Let me just read it for you so that you can think over it as we get to Monday. Someone was asking, so what is the prospector's ultimate goal? So that he will know how not to settle in Haran. What is his ultimate goal? Indeed, so that he will know when he reaches Canaan. I think it's a great question, and we will pick it up. Yes. So we can pick that up on Monday.
We can start with that on Monday.
All right. Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries there. The presiding bishop, Dr. David Oginde, with us today and every Monday for the Leadership Forum. We are thankful once again for all your posts, your questions, also on SMS, and we will be picking it up next Monday. My name is Wambo Mboro. I want to ask that you have a lovely Monday afternoon and a lovely week ahead. Up next is the news at 1 o'clock.
Did you know the Friends of Hope is an initiative of Hope Media? Through this initiative, we are able to partner with others who are keen to ensure that we keep hope alive. Through your support, we are sharing the hope we have with many others who are yet to embrace hope. You too can become a part of this initiative today. Send your contribution of any amount to M-Pesa paybill number 933933. Account name Friends of Hope. For more information regarding Friends of Hope, please email friendsofhope@hopefm.org or SMS FOH to 20933. Join Friends of Hope today. Friends of Hope. keeping hope alive. Another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries.